All right, last step is to make our page responsive. As you can see, if you resize the page now, it stays 4 columns. And that's because when you look at our code, you can see our wrapper just says 4 columns. We don't at any point tell it to change how many columns there are depending on the size. And that's what we're going to do now. We're going to give it a small size and say if it's a small size, let's just have 1 single column. If it's a medium size, let's have 2 columns, and then we'll keep this 4 columns for a larger size. And there's lots of websites you can find that tell you the common breakpoints. It's kind of a judgment call which one you use, but W3 Schools has a good one, so I'm gonna, let's see, common breakpoints RD W3 Schools. All right, so responsive web design media queries. So the media query looks like this: at media, only screen, and then you're just going to say the width of the viewport. So in this particular example, for any window that is the maximum size of 600 pixels, the background will be light blue. If it goes over 600 pixels, then obviously we'll have a different rule, maybe revert to the basic white background. And to see the common breakpoints that are used, they also have that on this page. Here we go. Typical device breakpoints. We're going to use this small devices and tweak it a little bit, medium and large. So for a phone, a tablet, or a desktop monitor. So I'm going to copy these and then put them right in our CSS file. And I'm going to put them at the very top, actually before. I'll put them after the body tag, so we'll have that same background color and not have to worry about reloading that. But just paste all of those there. And you can see that the commenting right there comments out and explains what each one's going to do. The first one says for a minimum width 600 pixels. What I want to do instead is set a maximum width. So if any sort of phone up to the point of, let's say, 767, which is the next size. So instead of min width, I'm going to change this to max width and 767. And again, these change because there's new models of phones coming out with different dimensions all the time. You can't be exact for every exact phone, but you can kind of get a rough guideline of what's popular now, what's in use now. So those 2 brackets, anything I put between those will only happen if it's a window that is smaller than 767 pixels. And then we're going to have a different set of rules for what happens once it gets above 768 pixels. So let me delete out those dots and hit enter. And then the last one is the largest one, minimum width 992. So anything between 768 and 991 will be basically tablet size. We'll have the rule there. And I said we're going to do is we're going to have 4 columns for the large ones. So just go ahead and copy this wrapper the way it's written. Actually cut it. So Control X. And let's put that inside of this largest media query. Sorry. So there. If the screen has a minimum width of 992 pixels, then we will have 4 columns. All right. If it has a medium width of 768 pixels, I'm going to copy and paste this again, but I'm going to change the number of columns. Instead of 4, I'm just going to get rid of 2 of those. So delete 1FR, 1FR. So now when you've got a screen between 768 pixels wide and 991 pixels wide, there'll only be 2 columns. And then if you're talking about a phone, something that's smaller than 767 pixels, let's change that rule one more time. And instead of using the fractional unit here, we'll just use, I believe it's auto, and that will just give us a single column. All right, let me check and make sure that that is correct, because I'm not absolutely sure it is. All right, and let's test our page now. So refresh, 4 columns, 2 columns, 1 columns. And that's it. That's media queries. If you want to understand more about how it works, it's pretty self-explanatory, but that W3 School's website is really useful. So you can specify the portrait versus landscape orientation. You can get very specific about different types of devices. You can have be more specific for like wider monitors, but just a basic phone, tablet, monitor is a good rule of thumb to go by for most of your web designs. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned a lot. Please feel free to tinker with these numbers, tinker with the media queries, tinker with the colors and design of your page if you'd like. And just whenever you're done, go ahead and upload it to your Web 140 folder on the HostGator server. And I look forward to seeing what you did with it.